That was a good adventure. Why aren't you doing a second playthrough? Huh? I'm sitting here right now on my 7th playthrough of Hard Gold, and after that I'll do my 8th playthrough of Soul Silver. If any of you actually care as to why I usually don't do stuff like that, it's mostly because I'm a bit sentimental towards my original files. It would be hard for me to just wipe something like that out of existence. The other reason is because when you're playing through a Pokemon game, there's always that one place you're not looking forward to. This is a list about those kinds of places. You don't actually have to go to some locations on the list, but most of them are necessary. So now, I am beginning the top 15 most annoying locations in Pokemon. This one bugs me because it just doesn't quite feel complete. You could say that about a lot of areas in the Sevii Islands, but I for one love this side quest. However, it has a certain place I can't stand. Green Path. This is Green Path. This is the end of Green Path. Notice something? It's literally the smallest area in any Pokemon game. Even the truck was larger than this. Sure, the name sounds relaxing, but why not make that small strip part of Outcast Island? Totally pointless. Yeah, I know this was basically just a joke entry, but work with me here. I did have a reason to put it on the list after all. Alright, now that the joke's over, we're getting into some real places. You know the Battle Frontier and its several spin-offs? Ever since Crystal, there's always been some kind of place that just lets you battle and nothing more. That's fine and all, but sometimes there's been those battle areas. The ones you could care less about, or the ones that are just plain frustrating. Number 14 is pretty much any of those kinds. Smaller examples include the Battle Institute and Battle Tent, which are just plain lame. Then there's the more problematic ones, like the original Battle Tower itself. If you tried entering this place in Crystal, you would walk out dumbfounded. Kudos to you if you can even make it to the 3rd round, because you'll be hammered with maxed out, top-notch Pokemon like Chansey, Scizor, and any other huge pains in the neck. All of them are extremely cheap, and it's obvious the game is on their side. The Battle Frontier in Emerald was always the most entertaining, but I do have a few choice words for the Battle Palace. You have no control the moment you enter this place. All of your Pokemon choose the moves themselves, and all you can do is sit back and watch as your uber awesome Blaziken sits there using Strength on a Ghost type. Look, Blaziken, I know we've been on a long journey learning new stuff for hours on end, so why the heck did you just make a 3-year-old's mistake and do no damage? I can't believe you're really that stupid. However, there's one final example of an unlikable area. I have a bit of a grudge against the Battle Mason. There's nothing interesting about this place. It's basically a longer version of the Battle Tent, and it can go on for about 90 matches until something finally just kills you off. It's not fun destroying a bunch of little birdies for the first 15 matches or so. Oh well, at least there's now the Hoenn remakes and we finally get back to the old Battle Frontier. Oh, never mind. It's just the Battle Mason again with a random lady sitting outside on the beach that plays music for your entertainment. Goody, goody, grrr. It's a good thing there's lots of variety with the many locations in Pokemon nowadays, because back in Red and Blue, some of the places were a little blah. Need a good example? How about the building that plays more like an insanely long dungeon with 11 floors? Yeah, I'm talking about Silph Co. Don't get me wrong, I was disappointed when you could only access one floor in future games, but I'm not sure what's worse, a waste of space or too much space. After going straight to the 11th floor and laughing like a lunatic because the door to the office is blocked off, you then realize you must slowly go through each and every floor, plowing through these teams of useless Pokemon you've seen a million times. I could care less about a load of Rattatas and Coughings that barely even give you any experience. Each floor is filled with mazes of gates and keys to the next area. After a while, it gets incredibly tedious going back and forth finding these random keys and gates and Coughings and Rattatas. It all looks the same after a while. Ugh. Not to mention these teleports. It could be because I'm an absolute idiot, but I never have any idea where these stupid things take me. Screw Saffron Gym. This might be even worse. Finally. 7th floor, we're close to the end. Oh good! Literally the worst ever time your rival has showed up. If you weren't prepared for this, then good luck taking down that huge team. Dang it, Gary. And then suddenly the scientist gives you a Lapras for no reason. Oh, sure, thanks. Moving on from that random moment, the ultimate battle with Giovanni isn't actually that hard, him having only 3 Pokemon. Plus, you get a Master Ball after that, and this whole place was rather intimidating. Those bonus points keep it somewhat lower on the list, but it can still go punch itself in the face. Well, that's right. All you people with your nostalgia goggles clearly just heard me say that your games are so bad that upon release they spread toxins throughout the air, and now everyone is suffering from a poisonous disease causing vomiting, diarrhea, and gash wounds. Conclusion: Generation 1 causes gash wounds! If you kept visiting Castelia City on a regular basis, you would eventually have the place memorized. Probably the biggest city in the whole series at that point in time, and a nice one at that. Oh, but then there's X and Y with their magnificent Lumiose City. We got Castelia City right here, and then this is Lumiose City right here. To be honest, I don't actually hate this place as much as everyone else. By the time you finish the Looker side quest, Lumiose City will be a bit more familiar. If you like visiting the shops, you'll be here a lot as well, but even then, this place still has quite a few problems. The controls are pretty awkward, even if you're just trying to get inside someplace. Sometimes you'll have to turn the camera before moving in a certain direction. Other times the camera itself is at a bad angle. That makes all the getting lost even more annoying, especially when you're trying to find that accursed Esper. That part in particular is like looking through your purse for a grain of salt. And yes, I just automatically assume that all of you have a purse. Also, everyone who pre-ordered X or Y hates this place for a fact, because if your version didn't have a patch, then you would lose all your save data if you were to save your progress in this city. I apparently have a patched version, because I accidentally saved in this city twice before. One last thing I don't like about Lumiose City. In the TV show, this place is home to Clement and Bonnie, the 2 most annoying sidekicks in the show's history. Even Dawn was better than this. Oh well, I guess I shouldn't underestimate people with Pokemon like these. Cerulean Cave is a classic area, of course. It's only this low for that reason. It has a lot of mazes in it, but not as many floors as... The mazes, however, are far worse. An unspeakable amount of dead ends, so many different twists, turns, and alternate routes, and constant barrages of tough, high-level Pokemon. What's forcing you to go through this maze? These little teeny bitty rocks! But things get worse when this place returns in future games. Sure, having to use Flash and Heart Gold and Soul Silver may be rather annoying, but there's a particular version of Cerulean Cave that makes the list. I bring you the version from Fire Red and Leaf Green. Take everything I already talked about, remove the Flash, and add a near constant amount of Wobbuffets. Sure, using Repel would make sense, but it's almost guaranteed that your team, even at this point, won't be a high level enough to stop Wobbuffet from showing up. It's got Shadow Tag. You can't escape. Coolios. An insane amount of HP. Awesome-ios. Try attacking it hard enough that it attacks back with twice the amount of damage and almost always destroys your Pokemon in one hit. Neato-ios. By the time you actually make it to Mewtwo, you're definitely better off just using a Master Ball. I don't care how pathetic you think I am. Would you rather I use it on a Barbark? Barbark. We've all been there. You're slowly going through a Pokemon game in the very beginning, having fun with the new mechanics, and all of a sudden, oh, there's a big cave! Now naturally, everyone would expect me to say that Mount Moon is number 10, but at least that place was somewhat interesting. Lots of wide open space, a fossil to collect. The rumor of Clefairies coming here as aliens, and it's also where you first encounter Team Rocket and that guy with his extremely cheap level 16 Raticates. But I'll tell you what, there is nothing interesting about Granite Cave. Although, in the remakes, there is a nice cave painting for you to look at, plus you have one less floor to deal with on your first visit, so I'm putting the original Granite Cave on the list. This place is so bland. No one likes getting ambushed by all these weak, hopeless Pokemon, with the obvious exception of Geodude. And in between the very beginning and end, you don't encounter a single person. Why you go here in the first place?
to get this guy a letter, since he apparently never leaves the cave until you randomly waltz in with this Macy's gift card from Miss Grandma.
No, you know what? I wish it was that humorous. Also, anyone who's played a hoeing game knows what I'm talking about when I say that I despise those accursed cracks you have to run over with your bike. You have to deal with them a few times throughout the region if you care about all the different items you can get. Once you start crossing, you can't stop until you either make it or hit something and fall to your doom. The cheap controls do not help, and I honestly think Granite Cave has the worst of these puzzles. So many turns and items, it makes me sick. Victory Road. To which one of these grueling dungeons should I give the honors? Oh, what was that? You were blabbering your blibby blobbers about some Johto? No! Alright, I've got some demonstrating to do. For comparison, here's what Johto's Victory Road has to offer. No trainers, only a few different rooms, and a rival battle at the end. Simple. What does Sinnoh's Victory Road have up its sleeves? Lots of different trainers. And in the post-game, you got this mishmash of junk to plow through if you ever want to see the light of day. And also, there's this character who follows you around and no one cares about. Yeah, this difference is like a bottle of Wadla and Gatorade. Surf, waterfall, rock smash, flash, even rock climb. Every single one of these HMs is necessary on your way through this area, which is annoying if you want to explore Victory Road with just a decent team having good moves. The trainers are also some of the most difficult ones I've encountered in any Victory Road. Oh yeah, I was talking about the post-game. Now you've got this huge, long floor in which you'll probably have to use the fog. That's right, another HM. Oh, and doesn't this look familiar? You guessed it, they tried bringing back the tedious maze fashion of Cerulean Cave, and they pretty much succeeded. So you finally make it out, there's a couple more trainers, and what's this? It's a shiny rock that does nothing if you didn't go to a Nintendo event back in the day and receive this little item you can only get through cheating devices at this point in time. That's what you came here for. As someone who doesn't like using cheating devices just to proceed in a game, this was the biggest slap in the face. Your partner that you found in this place kept talking about this special Pokemon. You went all the way through this part of Victory Road thinking you'd meet up with it in the end, but no, not unless you have some item through a cheap method. Then you can get your level 30 hedgehog made of grass. Such joy. I wasn't thinking of including locations from any spin-offs, but this one level just kept bugging my thoughts, so forget it. Number 8 is a place from Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Almia. Oh, man, this is one of my favorite games of all time. Such an awesome storyline, such awesome battles and missions. The only thing I don't like about this game is the Chroma Ruins. I can sum it up pretty quickly. Wander around, catch a Driplim, use its ability a few feet away. Rinse, lather, repeat, rinse, lather, repeat, rinse, lather, repeat, rinse, lather, repeat, rinse, This is all you'll be doing for the next 20 or so minutes. The music, atmosphere, and boss battle may be nice, and sure there's a story-altering event that happens at the end of the dungeon, but the level design itself, it's just so... That's a real nice way to show your anger, flicking your bottom lip. I had decided to include at least one place from each generation, and Johto doesn't have too many horrific areas. Well, at least the ones I actually bothered with. But here's the thing, it only has 2 sea routes. They're both in a row, and Game Freak just had to make it intolerable. Nobody likes trainers that hardly give you any cash. There are 14 swimmers in this route, all with loads of pathetic Pokemon that barely give you any experience. And what do we all know about swimmers? They have zip in cash. Why do there have to be so many of these people, and why must they be isolated all across the map so you have to take your time going all over the place just in case you missed any? This is patience trying because tentacle, tentacle, tentacle. Even if you have repels, you have to agree that these routes are a little ridiculous. Also, don't make the same mistake I did. On my first Johto playthrough, I didn't have a Pokemon that could learn Fly, or enough money to buy repels. So after beating the gym and getting that secret potion, I had to swim all the way back. What's even worse is the optional Whirl Island side quest. If you want to catch that Lugia, you'll have to put up with almost all the annoying things about caves in Pokemon, and even then you might not even be in the right cave. There are 4 different ones to try, and I really don't have the patience for that. By the way, catching Lugia in Heart Gold is so insanely difficult, I don't. This is me.